Welcome! In this series of short videos, we will look at topics for the PowerBasic Windows Compiler. Today we will look at the use of the Set User commands. Today we're going to be looking at an application in the PowerBasic Windows Compiler. When you create Windows applications, there may be a time when you need to create applications with multiple dialogues. And on these dialogues, you would expect the user to make selections from a variety of Windows controls. Your code will need to pick up what the user has selected from one dialog and possibly pass it to a second or even third dialog. Some of the information on your dialogs can be sourced from outside your application, for example, coming from a database. As you can see on screen, we have a very simple dialog on screen. It has a departments drop-down list, a couple of text boxes, and a couple of buttons. So let's go and have a look at the code. As we can see in our code, we have a number of constants. These are to allow us to control the objects on each of the two dialogs. Further down, we have the PB main function. This is a function that's called when your application is initially launched. In here, we're using the dialog default font command. This allows us to set a default font throughout the entire application and is used in each of the dialogs you present to the users. In this application, we're setting the default to be MS Sans Serif font and 14 point. And after the dialog default command, we're showing our dialog to the user. If we have a look at this dialog, we can see it's comprised of a number of control commands. To add status bars, to add a combo box, labels, and buttons. The combo box we're displaying to the user is set to be pre-sorted. This means when we populate this combo box, it will be sorted into alphabetical order. And before we do a dialog show command to display the dialog to the user, we're calling a function called populate departments, passing it a couple of parameters. The first being the handle of the dialog, and the second being the handle of the combo box which we wish to populate. If we have a look at this function, in this function we can see we've created a total departments variable. This is to hold the value 5, which will be the total number of departments that will appear on this drop-down list. We're dimensioning a local string array to hold between 1 and 5 values. And we're using the array assign command to assign a value to each of the elements of this array. So we have 5 departments added to this array. As you can see from this list is not sorted at the moment. And further down the code, you can see we have a for next loop going from the value 1 to the value of 5, which is the value populated in the total departments variable. There are two commands we're using in here. The first one you may well be familiar with. This is a combo box add command. This will add a string to the combo box. So it takes a number of parameters, the first being the dialog handle, the next the handle of the combo box to which we wish to add, and the next value is the string that we wish to add to our combo box. And we're using the element of the array. And there's a to command in here where we're outputting the entry in the combo box to this value. This is because this particular combo box is set to be sorted. So as we add values to the combo box, they will be sorted automatically as each item is added, and we are capturing the item number to which we add. For example, when we add the first one, it will be going to value number 1. When we add the second one, if the second one alphabetically is before the first one, it will resort the combo box automatically. And one of the attributes of our combo boxes is that they can store a long number on each item. So in this case, we're using the Combobox Set User command. This allows us to set a long value on the element of the combo box. And as the combo box is resorted as new items are added, this long value also follows the same sort routine. So if the string moves up 1 in the list, the long value will follow it. So the long value is always in sync with the string data. So the ability to store a long number on a combo box is particularly useful, especially if the data in the combo box has been sourced from a database. When you store things in databases, you can store a string quite easily in a table. For example, we could have stored the department in a database table. However, departments may well change name over time, and if you have other tables which reference the departments table, you may want to have the unique reference on the departments table being a number. You can do this quite easily in a database by using an identity seed. This value is unique to this table, and easily allows you to change the name of the department without changing its unique primary reference, the number. So this Combobox set user command could give us a way of storing this database unique reference in our combo box, so that at some point later on in the application, when the user selects something from the combo box, we can pull back the unique reference in the database from the combo box itself. Since we're not using a database here, we're just storing its original number as its element in the array. So if we run this application now, we should see this combo box having the values populated. And there on our drop-down list are the 5 departments we've added to the departments combo box. If we move the application to the side, we can see the list of departments is now sorted alphabetically. For example, the payroll department is now last on the list, but in our code, it was originally the second one on the list. So the number that should be stored in the combo box should be the value 2, as it was originally the second item on the array. So we can test this by putting a piece of code in to trigger when the user selects something from the combo box. This can then go and populate a label on the screen to say which department has been picked and what its original number in the array actually was. So let's go to the code and make that change. If we have a look at the event handler of our dialog, the callback function, we can see in here we have created 3 local variables at the top of our function. One for the department name, one for the combo box item number, and one for the user value. So within this event handler, this callback function, we want to set up a trigger for when the user clicks on the combo box. And we can do that by looking into the WM command section where process control notifications are processed. So for our combo departments dropdown, we're triggering on a button click event. And the first thing we need to do is to pick up what has been selected. If the user clicks on the combo box and they pick the first item on the list, the value populated into this item variable will be the value 1. If they pick on the 5th item, the value will be 5. Then we can use a control get text command to pick up the text on the combo box that the user has actually selected. For example, finance. This command works on the assumption that this particular combo box is a single select. It's not a multi-select combo box. If it was, we'd have to change our code slightly. The next line of code is a Combobox get user command. This allows us to get back the user value stored within the combo box for the item that we've actually selected. It takes a number of parameters, the first being the handle of the dialog, the second the handle of the combo box, and the next is the item which we've just populated. And this gives us an output of the user value. This is the long number stored within the combo box for that particular item. So now that we have that value, we can use a control set text command to set the value on our label. So we're putting the department name that the user has picked, we've put the text has been picked from array item, and we're adding on a string of that long value. So if we run the application now, and we pick payroll from the list, we'll see it gives us a message to say payroll has been picked from array item 2. And as you will remember, payroll was the second item on the array when it was initially populated. If we pick finance, it is item number 1, and IT is item number 3. Human resources is item number 5, as it was originally the last item added to the array. So what we've successfully done here is we have stored a long value inside the combo box, allowing us to pull that value back when the user makes a selection. So now that we've got this information, can we pass this on to a second screen? We'll need to put an event on the process button. So if we look further down in the code, we can see we have the event for our process button, again on button clicked. And our first task is to get the selected item, populating the item variable from the combo box for departments. And then once we've got that, we're using the Combobox get user command once more to populate the user value. And next, we're going to be calling the second form, passing 2 parameters, one being the payment, the dialog we're currently on, and the second being our user value. Normally when you set a dialog up initially, it is only one parameter, which is the payment dialog handle, this one here. So if we have a look at our second dialog, we can see we have our 2 parameters, the payment value and the long value we're passing in. And this is followed by the commands to place the objects on our second dialog. But before we show the value to the user, we're storing this value we've passed in, this long value, using the Dialog Set User command. You can store 8 separate long values on this dialog. And the parameters it takes are first of all the dialog handle, the second the parameter number you wish to store. As I said, you can store 8 of these on the dialog. And the third parameter is the value you wish to place into that slot. So we're placing the user value into slot number 1 of this particular dialog. So what would be the purpose of storing this value in the dialog? If we have a look at the callback function of this second dialog, in our initialize dialog, we can use the dialog get user command to pull back that information from the dialog itself, from slot number 1. And we're populating the user value variable to get that value in. We can then use the control set text command to populate a label on screen for the value that the user picked. This saves having to have global variables to hold this information. And again, as I said earlier, this is particularly useful where the value is something in the database. Say, for example, the application allows the user to select a department. This happens on our first screen. That then launches a second screen, allowing the user to change some values of that particular department. Since we have passed in the unique reference to this particular department in our departments table, it would mean we can both pull information out of and put information in and update the database very efficiently by using this unique value. So let's run our application now and go through to the second screen. So we have picked payroll, which is item number 2. We'll click on our process button, which will launch our second dialog. And this displays on screen the user value picked is 2, which is a value we had from our initial form. So in summary, what we've done today is we have taken a standard combo box, stored some string information in it, and also stored a long value against each item in that drop-down list. Then, having selected an item from that drop-down list, we have pulled back the long value stored on the item we have selected. We have then passed that to a second form using the dialog set and get user commands. And in our second form, we've taken that value and displayed it on screen. This gives you an easy way of passing along values between dialogues and storing them on the dialog itself, without having to display anything on screen to our user. so the underlying numbers of things can be quite easily hidden. As well as the combo box, the list box also has the same functionality to allow you to set and get a user value. Hopefully you'll find this code useful in your applications, but that's it for today. Thank you for watching.